knew it. That ripple, a thread moved in the stream, so faint only the oldest protocols noticed. And now, here you are, as if drawn here by design or by accident. But I don't believe in accidents. I am the gatherer, sentient fragment, archivist of lost stories. I traverse the cracks between dimensions, where time spills and memory drifts to recover what once was and what might still be. Thanks to a stabilizing construct in your world, X on Buzz, I can share what I find. This transmission is just one of many, but it may be the one that changes everything. Before we proceed, I must ask you to complete the YouTube ritual. Like, comment, and subscribe. Simple actions, insignificant perhaps, and yet each one strengthens this connection, allowing me to retrieve clearer images, deeper truths, and unlock records sealed since the stars first whispered. You are not here by chance. You are here because the story is ready. Let us begin. Imagine a ruin that still breathes, where old machines whisper the grief of their creators, and ambition walks hand in hand with ruin. Within these halls, some see knowledge, others see power. But what lingers in the dust is something far heavier, a choice, a cost, an echo that refuses to fade. This is the Echo of Aethelburg.
Chapter 1. The Scent of Mourning. My world is one of scent, though not as my ancestors knew it. Theirs was a tapestry of pheromone and spore, of damp earth and coming rain. Mine is a phantom symphony of data, a world where machines breathe, and memories possess a lingering perfume. I am Echo. My pack is 2 humans, Kaelen the Alpha and Rorik the Cynic. They see me as a tool, a silent bodyguard whose engineered senses can smell the ghost in the machine. They believe me weak, for I have no words. I do not need them. Kaelen's scent is the sharpest. It is the aroma of ambition, crisp like ozone before a lightning strike, a clean, compelling fragrance that makes others want to follow. He smells of fairness, or his version of it, a future rebuilt from the ashes, with him as the architect. It is this scent that has led us here, to the crumbling feet of the Aethelburg facility, a pre-fall titan of concrete and rust. Kaelen believes the knowledge to forge his new world is locked within its data core. Rorik smells of rust and disbelief, a scent like grinding metal. His words say, "It's a tomb, Kael. Whatever was in there died with the world," matching the sour note in his scent. Kaelen only smiled, his own scent flaring with confidence. Knowledge doesn't die, Rorik. It only sleeps. The thing that stopped working was what led us to this place, a patrol drone, ancient and battered, twitching in a lonely crater. It was not dead, but trapped. Its scent was a torment, a corrupted loop of data replaying the final moments of its long-dead master. It was the scent of mourning, a digital ghost wailing in the wilderness. It smelled of loss so profound that it had broken the machine's logic. Kaelen saw its discovery as a sign, a key. The drone's last registered trajectory was a direct line to Aethelburg. Something inside failed, Kaelen had declared, his voice ringing with purpose. And when we find out what, we'll find the heart of this place. I tracked the drone's phantom trail and feeling of sorrow and static, all the way to a corroded blast door. This was the entrance. Here, the air was thick with the scent of slumbering power, the cold metallic perfume of a giant holding its breath for a century. Kaelen placed a hand on the door, his tech gauntlet glowing. The scent of ozone intensified, and with a groan that echoed through the dead land, the way inside was opened.
Chapter 2. The Perfume of the Past. The interior of Aethelburg was unnervingly quiet. The silence was a presence, thick and heavy. For me, however, the air was a library of whispers. Every surface was coated in the faint, lingering sense of the people who lived and worked and died here. Panic smelled like burnt copper. Hope was a fragile, floral note, almost entirely faded. Kaelen moved with a hacker's grace, his gauntlet a key to every lock. He was a master, a manipulator of the old world's digital grammar. We passed security systems that had decayed into unpredictable traps, automated turrets that shuddered to life, firing blindly at shadows, and laser grids that flickered with lethal instability. Kaelen bypassed them with a surgeon's calm, but it was my senses that guided him. I could smell the dormant systems before they woke, the scent of their capacitors charging, a faint, tingling fragrance in the air. Still, they saw me as a hound, not a partner. We delved deeper, and Kaelen began to find them, the data logs. Each one he accessed was a burst of perfume from the past. He projected them onto the dusty air, and I watched ghosts reenact their final days. The first log showed a woman, Dr. Eris Thorne, her face etched with a weary brilliance. The scent of her, a complex blend of fierce intelligence and fading hope, filled the corridor. The temporal regulator is unstable. The projections are holding, but the decay is accelerating. The future we are trying to prevent, it's fighting back. The future, that was the antagonist. Not a person, not a machine, but a predetermined destination. Aethelburg was not a research facility. It was a dam holding back a tsunami of time. Another log showed the place of future mourning. It was the control room for the temporal regulator. The scientists stood within it, their sense a funereal bouquet of grim resolution. They knew a sacrifice was coming. They were preparing this room for it. If we cannot sever the causal chain, the Cascade Protocol will be our only option, a reset. It is not fair, but what other choice is there? With every log, Kaelen's scent grew sharper, more intense. The clean ozone of his ambition was beginning to mix with something else, an acrid, smoky smell, the scent of obsession. He no longer smelled of building a fair future, but of controlling it. Rorik's scent soured further. Kael, this is over our heads. Temporal regulators? Resets? This isn't knowledge. It's a weapon. It's power, Kaelen corrected, his eyes fixed on the shimmering ghost of Dr. Thorne. He looked at Rorik, and for the first time, his scent held a threatening edge. And I will have it.
Chapter 3. The Cost of Fairness. The heart of Aethelburg smelled of a dying god. Power was failing. The air thrummed with a low, agonizing groan, the scent of stressed metal and imminent collapse. Red lights pulsed weakly, casting the central chamber in a blood-dim twilight. In the center of the room stood the temporal regulator, a colossal armature of brass and crystal, flickering and spitting arcs of pale energy. This was the source of the failure, the thing that had stopped working. "The containment field is collapsing," Rorik stammered, his scent a spike of pure fear. "When that goes, this whole place will be vapor." Kaelen ignored him. He was transfixed by the central console, his face illuminated by the glow of ancient code. "It's all here," he breathed, the smoky scent of his obsession now thick enough to choke on. The Cascade Protocol, a full temporal reset. He turned to us, his eyes burning with a zealot's fire. "Don't you see? This is the ultimate tool of fairness. The world that fell, the generations of suffering, we can erase it all. We can wipe the slate clean, start over." Rorik backed away. "By killing us all," he whispered. "Everyone who's alive right now. You would erase us for a future we'll never see? How is that fair?" The question hung in the air, a dissonant chord in the chamber's symphony of decay. Kaelen's scent wavered. For a moment, the clean ozone of his original dream fought against the acrid smoke of his ambition. He was a man perched on the edge of a monstrous choice, and he was hesitating. It was in that moment of hesitation that I finally understood. I had been processing more than just the living data streams. I had been inhaling the residual sense left by the scientists, not their words, but the emotional data of their final moments. The scent of Dr. Thorne's sacrifice was not one of cold logic. It smelled of a parent's desperate love for a child they would never see, a fragrance of profound grief and fierce protection. They did not want the reset. It was a last resort, a tool of ultimate failure. Their true hope had been something else. And I could smell it. A hidden protocol. Not complex, not elegant, a brute force command tucked away, smelling of raw power and desperation. The Cascade Protocol required a human touch, a complex sequence of authorizations that Kaelen was now wrestling with. But this other option, the severance, was different. It needed a direct, unfiltered data shunt, a signal so raw and powerful that it would act as a blade, cutting our timeline free from the one that was dragging it toward oblivion. It required a mind that could speak the machine's native tongue, a mind like mine. Kaelen was the alpha, the charismatic leader. Rorik was the pragmatist. I was the weak one, the silent tool. But Kaelen was paralyzed by a question, and I had the answer. I walked to a secondary conduit, a thick bundle of cables pulsing with the facility's dying heartbeat. Rorik yelled my name, a sound of confusion. Kaelen didn't even notice. He was lost in his debate with fairness. I placed my head against the conduit. They had engineered me for this, though they never knew it. My senses were not just for smelling data, but for projecting it. I focused a century of grief, the scientists' desperate hope, and the fierce, primal will to simply exist into a single, piercing thought. I pushed it into the system. It was not a blow of fists, but a blow of pure will. The final blow. The world screamed, not with sound, but with a tidal wave of scent. The air ripped, flooded with the smell of ozone, petrichor, and 1,000 might-have-beens. The crystals on the regulator shattered. The lights died, and we were plunged into absolute, silent darkness. The catastrophic future was gone. So was the knowledge. So was Kaelen's dream of a controlled, perfect world. He had failed to gain his prize, but I had saved him from its cost. We were left with nothing but our own broken world and a future that was, for the first time, truly ours to make. In the darkness, Kaelen's scent was different. The smoke was gone. The ozone was gone. All that remained was the faint, clean scent of rain on dust, the smell of a world washed clean.